Hello, good morning, and welcome to this week's Expert Chat. My name is Melissa. I am host of Australian Women in Business, and today I'm joined by the lovely Julie Cliff. Julie, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Melissa. Lovely to see you.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you too. Now, you're a declutter coach. I'm so intrigued to find out about what this means and what you do.
Thank you. I am a declutter coach. So I have done a lot of hands-on work sort of as a professional organizer is probably how it many people may know, hands-on help in the home, which I still do some of, but moving more towards actually coaching people and their skills so they can do the decluttering themselves. We've got so much stuff, and for various reasons we might have a lot of things and we may have become unorganized or disorganized. So I love to be able to talk to people about their particular circumstances and help them work through their stuff, so that it's not that the mess isn't spilling over into the rest of their lives. So that's what a declutter coach does. As I say, more of the coaching side and learning the reasons behind, easy decision making, and also even something as simple as, where can I get rid of the stuff? Where does it go? Does it go in landfill? Good places to donate and those sorts of things. So that often is much easier for people to be able to let their stuff go if they know it's going to a good place. So lots of different things that might be their blockages. So it depends on the circumstances.
Yeah, right. So you have done possibly more so in the past, actually gone into people's homes and helped them sort out all their stuff. Oh, I couldn't even imagine it because I can't even sort out my own stuff. And I just think like, oh, I don't want to deal with anyone else's mess. But so you've done a lot of the actual physical work, but now you're mostly focused on the coaching. So that's where you're helping people to understand the declutter process and take back that power for themselves, right? Instead of relying on someone to come into the home and sort it out.
Yeah. That's right too, because as much as I love to go and help people do that, and still do on occasion, they're the ones that are going to have to keep it neat and tidy. They're the ones that need to get the family on board. They're the ones that need to ask for help if they do need help along the way, from other members of their family or external. So as I say, that to be able to learn those skills, the old saying of teaching a person how to fish, and they can sustain themselves. So it's the same sort of thing for them to be able to learn those skills and do the decluttering themselves. It still can be very difficult. You're looking at a box of baby clothes or, some of those sentimental items, travel memorabilia. Particularly sentimental to us at the moment, that if we're unable to travel. So looking at those sorts of things and working through it with them, so that it is easier for them to be able to let go and, as we say, keep that maintenance up afterwards.
Yeah, right. So it's so much more empowering, right? When you can do it for yourself rather than needing someone else. And as you said, there's the ongoing process of not falling back into the clutter. So you really do want to learn how to do it for yourself rather than having to call Julie up every time to say, come and clean up my space again.
That's right. Yeah. And of course it ends up a lot more economical in the end if you can do it yourself. I mean, of course, to pay me to coach them costs money, but they won't need me there for as many hours if it was hands-on and me having to stand beside them and do the work with them. So it works out quite cost effective for them. And we can get the family on board, as I mentioned, talking to other members of the family, or talking about how to approach other members of the family, and talking about other members of the family and how that can help you. Is that sometimes we just need to have a bit of a tweak with what we're expecting, either from ourselves or other members of the family. Just because mum, your own mum or your dad or your grandma did something in a particular way, maybe it doesn't suit you anymore, or it doesn't suit your family or your current circumstances. I'll often ask my clients, did your mum have MS? Some of my clients that have multiple sclerosis, or did your dad, was he in a wheelchair, or did your mum work full time? So it's rethinking and challenging those beliefs about what is acceptable at home, little things, the routines and the systems that you can put in at home, just having a really good think about those things so that you're not just doing it because that's the way you've always done it. We can have a think about, some nice, easy things to get the stuff done around the home, whether it's actual decluttering or the maintenance. And then also thinking about how we're going to use our time. How much extracurricular activities are the kids doing? Which days of the week are you going to put into your paid work? A lot of people starting businesses have a paid job and then they start their business on the side. So let's plan out some time to do those sorts of things. So looking at sort of diary management in that circumstances as well, just so that we can fit in all those things that we need to in a week. It's a lot. It's a juggle, isn't it, Melissa?
Yeah, absolutely. So you've just raised a really good point there, and I want to get back to basics in a minute, but clutter is not just the physical things in your space too, right? It's your schedule, it's the clutter in your mind, it's the
That's right.
And it all links in together. So for those of us that have 100 emails coming in every day, we need to do something about that, because it really does affect it affects how you feel and what you're thinking, and flows through into the rest of your life. So all right, before we go down any big tangents, Julie, why do we have so much clutter?
That is an awesome question. And there's many, many reasons. We're so lucky in this amazing country of ours, Australia, and many places of the world, that we can get things so easily. They're at our fingertips. Even when we can't get out to the shops, online shopping, Amazon, eBay, Gumtree, whatever it might be, that it's whatever we need, and a lot of things that we don't need are at our fingertips. So it's so easy. Often doesn't cost a lot of money. We've got an amazing standard of living, but we have expendable income that we can buy stuff. And we just love to make ourselves happy by purchasing things. So, but sometimes it goes to, that little bit of a tipping point where the stuff gets a little bit too much and it tips over, and our stuff doesn't make us happy when it's there is too much of it. But that's one or two good reasons why we have so much stuff. But there's also, as I just mentioned, a couple of my clients that I work with, quite a lot of them may have a disability of some sort. So, life gets in the way, and that process of letting things go becomes difficult. So that might be physically unable to get stuff out the front door, or there's just so many other pressing things that we need to attend to, the health of the kids, their own health, that there's so many different challenges that we just can't seem to be able to, continue that process to get it out of the house. It's coming in, no problem, but we're not making the time to stop and reassess what we've got and let things go that we're no longer using, and it just accumulates. So there's a few different reasons, but there's those couple that I've sort of outlined, some of the big ones that I see, and people maybe not necessarily be taught the skills of how to look after their things, and what do you need to hang on to? If you want to start talking about, paperwork and receipts, and, Dad always said you should hang on to every receipt. Oh, that may have been what Dad said, but it's probably not as relevant these days now that we can access a lot of things online. So it's just, a lot of different reasons why we have so much stuff.
Yeah, and I like that, what you said. We accumulate these things in an attempt to make ourselves happy, and then when we get too much stuff, we're unhappy again.
That tipping point. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. So lots of reasons why we end up with too much stuff, and one of them being, particularly in Australia, it's just so easy and affordable to get a whole bunch of stuff. And then we have trouble letting go of it for various reasons. So just from personal experience, I think one of the biggest challenges for me letting go of stuff is when it's got that sentimental value, which you touched on before. Do you have like a rule or a guideline that you use to help people decide whether or not it's worth hanging on to?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I wish it was that easy. It depends on everybody's circumstances. I never tell anybody they have to get rid of anything. I mean, they can keep everything they've ever owned if they like. That would be a very interesting house to live in. But, you know, depending on what your aims and your goals are, if you want space, if you want peace, if you want calm, I don't think it is living in a house with everything you've ever owned. So just bearing in mind, as I said, that I would never make anyone get rid of anything that they didn't want to, but it really is assessing what you want your life to look like and what do you want your life to feel like. And then we've been also talking about, well, you know, that sort of thing spilling over into your business and into the rest of your life as well. So what does that look like for you? We love our stuff here. We've got the kids' artwork, which is one of that picture. There's some artwork for the kids. I get backwards. Kids' artwork on the walls, their Lego and those sorts of things. So I like to see my things. I like to have my things, and I understand the importance of sentimental items for people, and we don't all want to live just in a white box. But of course, you can ask the age of question of when was the last time you used it, whatever the item might be. Sentimental items are a little bit different like that because they don't particularly get used, but you might want to have it on display so that you can see it, or even something like if it's grandma's china set, you know, asking yourself the question, do you need to have the whole of grandma's china set? Can you just have one or two cups and have them on display and looking beautiful rather than in a box under the bed? But again, it's a personal choice, and if it's something you want to pass on to your family, that's a beautiful thing to do. But again, bearing in mind that our kids often don't want our stuff, and I've even had adult children at my workshops, and they say, I just wish mum never had hung on to it. I don't want it. And so, you know, then they're left with it. So there's lots of different things to think about. I'm not a very sentimental person. As I said, I do love to have the kids' stuff around, but I would just as easily take a photo of it, make a video with the kids, with the item, so you've got that electronic copy of it, and have it on a screensaver on your computer or TV or something, so it's flicking up often and reminding you of those things, but not necessarily having to hang on to the item in the end. So there's a few different ideas there on the sentimental part of it, but again, if you let go of those sentimental items, you know, grandma, you won't forget grandma, or you won't forget your dad who's passed away, or you still have those memories, that you can keep those visual reminders, as I say, with an electronic copy, or make a coffee table book, something like that, photo albums, to keep those memories alive and to pass on. But you may not necessarily have to hang on to the actual item. Are you a sentimental person, Melissa, with bits and pieces?
Not overly, although I must admit there's a box of old film photos that is, you know, it's not in a nice album or anything. It's just a bunch of photos shoved in a box in the bottom of a drawer that maybe get pulled out once every 2 years. So
Yeah.
And there's a lot in there that I don't need.
No, that's right, and exactly what you're saying with a box of photos. Perhaps that's all you need, and it's just a box. You flick through it occasionally. It's not 15,000 photos that we often have digitally as well. It's just one box. It's easy. It doesn't have to be immaculately presented. You know where they are, and so I think that's an awesome idea. So that it's just there. And easy to grab and go through when you're ready, and again, it comes down to the amount of time that you have to be able to dedicate to this sort of stuff. You know, how beautiful do you want it to be, a coffee table book and all those sorts of things. But many of us have got so many hats we're wearing, we haven't got the time to dedicate to, you know, creating beautiful coffee table books of photos and those sorts of things. So whatever works for the person.
Absolutely, yeah. So I've moved around a lot through my life, so I tend to get rid of stuff and get new stuff a lot. I do still have my teddy bear who I got the day that I was born.
Beautiful.
So he's pretty old and shaggy by now.
What's his name?
Big Ted, of course.
Oh, of course. Gorgeous.
So Julie, what impact or influence does clutter have on us?
Yeah, that's a really good question too, because it can be, I'll use the word debilitating. Some of my clients that I work with, they literally burst into tears. You know, that walk into the room, walk into the garage, whatever it is, and they have emotionally overcome. They can't make decisions. I was just actually doing some hands-on work with a client yesterday that was in desperate help, and just the simplest of decisions she's unable to make. You know, do you want to keep this? That's the first question. And then, do you want it inside, or do you want to leave it in the garage in storage? And a number of occasions she just couldn't answer that question. So it can be just so overwhelming and debilitating. But then going all the way through to it's just a little bit inconvenient. Like it can be just annoying. Where's my keys? I've lost my keys again. Can't find them through the clutter. So varying degrees, of course, of what that means to people. But when it's the kids can't find their stuff, or they're haven't got their school uniform ready to wear because those processes and procedures, or whatever you might like to call that sort of routine around the home, isn't working well. Also, that it can just be, managing the home can be really difficult, which means that everything else just feels difficult as well, particularly if you're running your business from home and you're trying to push the clean clothes maybe on the kitchen table aside so you can set up your laptop to do your work. That's just one more thing. You mentioned earlier in the conversation about that clutter in our minds, those things that are just in the back of your head. I need to fold those clothes and put them away. I need to, what's for dinner? That's often swimming around your head if you haven't made those choices ahead of time with some meal planning and those sorts of things. So can be, as I said, extreme from debilitating all the way to just really annoying and can make you late and just difficult to find things, which makes you angry and frustrated and anxious, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much about the feeling. So especially, as you said, women who are working from home, which is the majority of ladies that are here in this audience, and myself included, I've got to say that my office is the most decluttered room. It's the calmest space in the house. It's because I know when I walk in the morning that if it's a shambles, then it immediately impacts how I feel. And so I'm an empowerment coach. And so when I work with my clients, like I'm always going on about maintaining that feel good space as much as possible so that you will take action and get things done, right? So if you're surrounded by stuff constantly and it's in your way and it's inconvenient, it's constantly influencing you, whether you stop and think about it or not. It's constantly impacting how you feel, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And like you say, some people haven't got those beautiful clear spaces that you sound like you're deliberately creating in your office, and they haven't got anywhere to go in their home. So that is exactly what you're saying. It's just everywhere you turn. So through either my hands-on help or the coaching, to be able to focus on those places in the home that are really going to make the most impact on your life and your business and your family. And it's often the kitchen that we might start with first, the kitchen bench. Let's think about and let's start to deal with what's in your hands rather than just dumping on the kitchen bench. One of my coaching clients at the moment's been saying the last couple of weeks, and I think it's been 3 weeks now, that she deliberately has takes her handbag and puts it in the study in a particular spot every night after work now, rather than she used to just dump it on the kitchen bench. So those little tweaks that we can make along the way add up to big things when you can go and start cooking dinner because the kitchen bench is free and neat and tidy, rather than have to do a mad dash so that you can get the chopping board out and start to get dinner ready for everybody. So just those small things, small places to start, can add up to a big impact, exactly like you're saying, to have those calm spaces to be able to do the work in them that they're designed to do, whether it's the kitchen or your office. So 2 of those places are a great place to start when you're looking at decluttering, and just starting with something tiny, exactly like I said, the surface of the kitchen bench, the top of your desk, if you've got a lot of clutter, and just keeping those spaces free. And a part of setting up those sorts of things is creating the permanent homes for your things. It's not just, oh, I'm going to move them aside and have them in another pile. It's where are they going to live, and being diligent to put them in those permanent homes each and every time afterwards, so that you're making those nice spaces to live in.
Yeah. So, Julie, there's a lot more to think about than just, I need to tidy up.
Yeah. That's really, there is. And as I mentioned just then, that people often get carried away and first of all don't know where to start. I asked one of my coaching groups yesterday, I said, so where are you going to start sorting this week? We were talking about, maybe the junk drawer or the linen press and that sort of thing. And she said, I really want to do the drawer in the table in the dining room because it's got the serviettes in it, but they don't fit very well. But I want to put them in the linen press, and there's no room in the linen press, but I need to do something else so that I can make room for the linen press. So it was really ended up a big job. So I said, how about you just get yourself a card table or a portable table? She said, yep, I've got a card table in the garage. Bring it in beside the linen press, and let's just start with one shelf. We're going to get all the like items out together, the face washes, the hand towels, the towels, and just start the sorting process. And she says, yes, I can do that. So we will eventually get back to the other things that she mentioned, the serviettes and the other areas, and she will do the whole linen press by the end of the next couple of weeks. But we wanted to make that starting point because it can be really difficult to know where to start.
Yeah, and sometimes when the job seems too big, we end up just not doing it at all, right?
Definitely.
I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week.
Oh, look at that. Oh, there's a new episode of whatever to watch instead.
Yep. I've been guilty of that plenty of times. Yeah. So it's really important that we not only recognize the impact that the clutter is having on us, but then we create a plan of how we're going to tackle that. So I know we've touched on it a little bit, but we titled, what did we title this? We said how your clutter at home can spill into your business. Now, I think we sort of get the idea by now, but I know personally when I moved from one room to another, like I moved my office and I had a bit more space and I made a point of keeping it decluttered, whereas the old office was a shambles. My productivity went up. A lot. I felt different. I was like, oh, I'm at a sort of new level almost of professionalism now because I'm not, sitting amongst all this crap everywhere. Yeah, it's a lot to look and take in. And the scientists often say it is that excess visual stimulus that keeps us from, makes us distracted and go, oh, I should do something with that. I should do that. Should be, and all the shoulds keep going around and around in your mind. So those nice clear spaces are certainly much more productive to work in. So it's a really important thing to do, to be able to set up a nice permanent spot for you to be working in. You might need to pack it up at the end of the day and put it away. Sometimes that has to happen, particularly a lot of us working at home at the moment. But being able to have a dedicated spot, even if it's the kids' homework, it's important sort of have their space as well.
neat and tidy, and then life just becomes much more easy.
Yeah, right. So if we're surrounded by clutter, chances are our mind is feeling cluttered as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So just having clearer spaces, permanent homes for things. And I loved what you suggested about having a plan to do it, putting time in the diary, like make an appointment with yourself that you're going to do 10 minutes on the office, use the timer, and just make a start on something small, because all these little things add up along the way to be able to help you make nice spaces in your home, which transfers to the feeling, exactly what you were saying, in your life, which transfers into your business as well. So, and then of course you can go down the rabbit hole of files, paper files, electronic files in your business, and those sorts of things as well. But a great place to start is your physical surroundings.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I guess one thing about the space, like obviously we can't all sit in a white box room and look at nothing. Is it important to keep things that are going to give you frustrating thoughts or negative thoughts, or oh, I should do that thoughts out of your sight, and just keep things in your sight that if you look at them, you're like, oh, I really like that lamp, or, you know, that's a nice whiteboard over there.
Yeah, that's a nice idea. And this is not quite relevant, but it was the first thing that popped into your head about keeping that tiny size 6 or 8 dress that you wore when you're 15 in your wardrobe to be haunted and tormented by it every time you go and get dressed. You know, but the same thing applies exactly in your surroundings, in your office, having just the right things that you need at your fingertips, easy files. You can put them in neat filing systems if you like, or a nice folder, your favourite pens. Just keep it simple and be able to tuck things away at the end of the day when it's time to pack up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So Julie, like I can see from talking to you, and we haven't met before, so I've gotten to know a lot more about what you do, but I can see that what you do in your coaching and helping people is really so much broader than just declutter. Like you really help them get organized. I'm all about time management. I love it. I love organized routines and schedules and all those things because I know how beneficial they are to my business. So you are really broad spectrum in that sense of helping people to get organized and declutter, right?
Yeah, and that's where the business name Space and Time came from. If you've got both those things pretty organized, well, you're probably halfway there.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's really fantastic. So if anybody needs to get in touch with you, Julie, where's the best place to find you?
Facebook is always great. I'm on there a couple of times a day, sharing lots of tips and tricks on doing the work yourself, or sharing workshops. So jump onto Facebook and have a look. Space and Time Professional Organising is the Facebook tag. But also tomorrow morning I'm running a decluttering workshop, actually, Friday at 10 a.m. So hop on the website as well, but on Facebook, and you'll be able to find the links to that. And that goes for about an hour and a half, talking about clear your space, double your time, and take control of your life. But also spaceandtime.com.au, information about the coaching, which there is a 12-week program, but also some sort of ad hoc help as well if you just needed some advice and help every now and then. And also the hands-on help if people need.
Amazing, right? Amazing. And you're Melbourne-based?
I am in Melbourne, yes. Yeah, of course. Okay. So the hands-on help is Melbourne, but can coach anywhere. At the moment, I've got Ballarat, I've got Canberra, I've got all over the place at the moment with the coaching clients. So look forward to hearing from people when they need the help.
Yeah, absolutely. That's excellent. Thank you so much. And we're going to get the links for your website and Facebook page and that, pop them in the comments section so anybody can get in touch with you directly. The workshop tomorrow sounds awesome. So anybody who's needing help right now, get onto that workshop. I won't be able to make it at 10 o'clock. I'll be at Tony Robbins.
Oh, enjoy. That sounds so awesome. I'm jealous.
And yelling.
You will.
But yeah, thank you so much for your time today, Julie.
Pleasure.
If anybody has got questions for Julie, whether you're catching this now live or as a replay, just pop them in the comments and tag her so she gets a notification, or click onto one of her links and go speak to her more directly.
Yeah, thanks, Melissa, and you keep doing the fabulous work that you're doing with your group. I've really enjoyed being a part of it and look forward to getting to know you more and other people in your group.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thanks for being here. And thank you, everyone, for watching. And we will see you again next week. All right. Bye for now.